8th polls. But let's now shift gears to matters education. And Kenyans with questionable university degrees are currently sitting on the edge as their certificates could be recalled if discovered they did not fulfill standard requirement. The Commission for University Education is set to release results of an audit it carried out on academic papers universities have been awarding to ensure quality. Education Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i ordered the audit after it emerged that some universities may have awarded degrees to undeserving individuals either because they were admitted into the programs without the required minimum qualifications or they failed to attend required lectures, and universities that issued these degrees will also be punished for not observing the strict quality controls set out by the Commission for University Education. There are indications that results of the audit will be released tomorrow at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. All right, and on that, as we say, many people are sitting on the edge, and not just individuals, university heads as well, if this particular audit will be released tomorrow. Joining us now in studio is an education researcher, Jonathan Wesai. Did I pronounce your name right? Wesai? All right, thank you very much. Wesai.
Yes,
all right, thank you very much for joining us in the studio. There's a lot of panic, I should say, for this audit, but given whichever way this audit would go, what would this mean for our education system and for universities at large?
It just means that we're getting into a space where Kenyans are going to begin getting value for money. If you look at it, within the 10 years the former President Kibaki was in power, he gave charters to over 30 universities. We now have universities that are sitting on top of bars, on top of supermarkets, all over. Every village has a university. That is not what university education is all about. A university is an institution for higher learning. You should aspire to join a university. It should not be an institution that is at the back door.
It's obvious.
Anywhere.
You will join the university.
So we are getting into a space where some of the recommendations that have been made in the education sector are being picked up by the Cabinet Secretary for implementation. And one of them is the quality of education offered in any institution of higher learning. And if you looked at his letter to the Commission for University Education on what the audit should entail, one of the critical things is the number of students admitted into the university, their qualifications at the point of admission, but he also seeks to get the record of that student as they go through the process. So you must, if you are admitted in 2015, have you been attending lectures? Have you paid your fees? What is the threshold before you graduate? What marks do you need to obtain in the units you are studying? So it's an interesting thing. But then the second thing was on the number of professors each university has. We noticed, I think he cracked the whip first on Kisii University. They had a campus in Eldoret where they had nearly 60 to 70 PhD students being taught by less than 5 PhD holders. And one of the PhD holders, it was discovered, had again obtained the PhD fraudulently. So we're in for interesting times.
Well, they say that individuals will suffer, but there's also commitment that universities as well will be punished if they're found culpable of issuing fake degrees. But do you think this will help clean up our whole education system, especially on university education? Will it make things right?
Yeah, it will begin. It is not the magic bullet that will fix everything. But I think as a country, we are at a point where we need to redefine what corruption is. Corruption is not simply the act of Akisa taking money and carrying it in a gunny bag and crossing the road with it. There are people who have been put in public office to advise the government of the day, to make decisions using taxpayers' money, but they go ahead and make wrong decisions. strategically wrong decisions. For me, if I were to make a decision, the people who advised the former President Kibaki to turn every polytechnic into a university, they need to be jailed. We are complaining today we don't have technical people because we turned every little thing into a university. So if you are a vice chancellor, you are a deputy vice chancellor in charge of academics, and you facilitate the admission of people who are not qualified to join your university, you need to pay for it. There are people who are facilitating politicians running into any learning institution before elections, and you give them degree certificates. Yeah. Those are the people who need to be arrested. It's unfortunate that we get the innocent people into prison, and people who commit atrocities, we leave them roam the streets.
There's concern that this particular audit took place between January the 23rd and February the 10th. Was this enough time, or we're just doing things to finish? Because it's about 2 or 3 weeks. Is this enough time to carry out an audit on all the public universities, or how was this done?
You know, what we are obtaining from the media and the communications office at the Ministry of Education is the directive that the Commission for University Education gives the Cabinet Secretary a report, and the report must be ready within this window. What we need the Kenyans to understand is that the Commission for Higher Education is an institution established by an Act of Parliament, and it operates every day. Yeah. What the Cabinet Secretary asked them is to pull everything together. Now, one thing is going to emerge. If they were not working, their report is going to have gaps. And that is where the Cabinet Secretary then has the liberty to crack the whip. Yeah.
So after the release of this particular audit, what are some of the sins we expect to see? Because I understand even holders of honorary degrees, if the procedure was not followed, it will be revoked.
Yep, and it is, it's a good thing for the sector, because these are degrees that people are awarded on merit. So if you obtained yours through false pretense, through a fraudulent process, it needs to be stripped. But interestingly, the Cabinet Secretary has also, mentioned that the Commission for University Education needs to work closely with the Independent and Boundaries Commission, so that the politicians who've been buying their degrees and going to vie are not allowed to run for political office. So we're going to see some changes, and the politicians are likely going to start running to court so that they stop or bar such interference. But it is a beginning. Remember, we have the university lecturers on strike today because of not only salaries, but also working conditions. If you look at nearly 40 to 50% of all admissions in universities are for arts subjects and education. We have classes. When I was at the university in 1999, our class had 400 learners. 400 people. The lecturer does not have a public address system. So you are operating as if you are in a marketplace. So it is difficult. They are working under distressing conditions. I'm assuming
the numbers are higher now.
So the numbers are higher now. The facilities have not changed. So what this means for us to get this value, the government must also begin by investing more in higher education, paying our lecturers well, because we are losing quite a number of lecturers, and specifically to South Africa. South Africa and universities have a way of tapping the very best from Kenya. They offer them scholarship for masters. They go there and they remain. They take their masters and PhD. Yeah. So they come home for Christmas.
It's very unfortunate for us. But Jonathan, thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand some of the implications that universities and individuals will be looking at after that audit is released tomorrow. Jonathan Wesaya is